Good evening, I'm Laetitia Sidqawi and you're watching Canal Algérie's nightly news for this Thursday. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives phone calls from the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The Foreign Affairs Minister calls for mobilizing all the relevant international institutions to end the Zionist aggression on Palestinians while taking part in the extraordinary Arab League meeting held in Cairo, Egypt. Palestinians keep counting their victims amid an unbearable blockade being imposed by the Zionist occupation forces. And the mine sector is driving the national economy thanks to the investments being launched throughout the country. Welcome back. We begin tonight with the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receiving a phone call from Olaf Scholz, the Chancellor of Germany, during which both sides exchanged views on bilateral relations and means and ways to promote them in many aspects, including energy and industry. They have also discussed regional and international issues of common interest, notably the situation in Europe and the development in the Middle East, as well as Libya and the Sahel region. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, also received a phone call from his brother, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the President of the Republic of Turkey, in which they discussed bilateral relations and the expected visit of the Turkish President to Algeria in the upcoming month. Both presidents also discussed the development of the Palestinian-Israeli struggle and its latest developments. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ahmed Attaf, took part in the proceedings of the extraordinary ministerial meeting of the League of Arab States held in Cairo, Egypt. In his speech, the foreign minister stressed that Palestinians are facing brutal aggressions by the Zionist occupation at a time when the United Nations and the European Union both announced the unhumane siege on Gaza Strip goes against international humanitarian law. The situation is marked by the most hideous of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Attaf added that this situation urges the Arab League to mobilize all international bodies concerned to put an end to these practices. On the sidelines of this ministerial meeting, the Foreign Minister Attaf held bilateral consultations with the Secretary General of the Arab League, Ahmed Abu Ghait, as well as his Palestinian counterpart, Riyad al-Malki. On the occasion, Attaf reiterated the full support of Algeria to Palestinian brothers, especially in light of the brutal Zionist aggression on Gaza Strip and the war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide against Palestinians. The Foreign Minister also held talks with his Syrian counterpart, Faisal al-Muqdad, and his Lebanese counterpart, Abdullah Abu Habib, in addition to the Yemeni Foreign Minister Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak and the Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman al-Safadi. These talks revolved around the deterioration of the situation in the occupied Palestinian territories and the need to adopt a unified Arab position to act in order to put an end to the Zionist aggressions against Gaza Strip under blockade, to guarantee international protection to Palestinian civilians and meet their urgent needs. Slim hopes of peace in the occupied territories of Palestine as the Zionist entity continues its violent and hideous crimes, bombardments and airstrikes against the Gaza Strip, lacking electricity, gas, water, food and medication. An entire blockade is being imposed while preventing aid to come through. Tonight, update on the situation with Midisa Kepash.
The current situation in Palestine has already claimed thousands of lives and more than 5,000 wounded. Men, women and children. No one escaped the Zionist attacks, which have been going for the past 6 days against Palestinian civilians. According to the Palestinian Health Minister, the Children's Hospital of Beit Hanun, located in the north of the Gaza Strip, has shut down its activity due to bombardments, attacks, and the lack of medication, resulting to the incapability of the medical staff to accomplish their duties. 9 ambulances have been targeted during the last 2 days by the occupiers' fired jets, while 5 members of the International Federation of Societies of the Red Crescent were killed, indicated the Palestinian medical authorities. For its part, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees and the Middle East announced the death of 9 of its employees in an airstrike of the Zionist entity against Gaza Strip. The situation is witnessing a violent escalation, putting several lives in danger, including medical teams who are unable to grant first aid of victims. The Palestinian representative to the United Nations, Riyad Mansour, qualified the shelling of the Zionist entity as genocide. Norway, for its part, called on the international community to maintain its financial support to Palestinians being targeted by the Zionist war machinery.
And the death toll increased to 1,128 victims, a number likely to rise in the coming hours due to the ongoing Zionist attacks on Palestinians in several towns of the occupied territories. More updates on the situation in Palestine in our upcoming bulletins. Back to Algeria, where debates on the general policy of the government are ongoing at the National People's Assembly. The plenary session, presided over by Ibrahim Boughali, was dedicated to the parliamentarians' interventions. These sessions will continue until Sunday, while the Premier is expected to deliver his answer on Monday. In a related context, the mines sector holds a special place in the government's action plan, as a new promising project will be launched in the province of Jaya. The project will not only be beneficial for the country's economy, but to the region's inhabitants as well. Ms. Lakabash explains.
Our rich country never stops to amaze us with its natural resources. Today, it is here in the province of Jaya, precisely between the municipalities of Amzur and Tel Hamza, that a zinc and lead mine was discovered. This deposit is located at a depth of 600 meters for a thickness of 250 meters, taking into account the geotechnical analysis. This project is divided into 3 steps: the work phase of nearly 2 years, the exploitation phase, and finally the restoration phase. The mine's reserve are estimated at nearly 35 million tons. The annual production might reach 170,000 tons of pure zinc, placing Algeria among the top countries in terms of reserves of this resource. A strategic project with an economic dimension able to spearhead social development in favor of the youth's region. Its implementation can create more than 700 direct jobs and 4,000 indirect positions for the benefit of university students and graduates of the region's training center. It's a great opportunity to work here as an engineer. It is truly a boon for our students who are going to be able to perform their training here without moving to other provinces. With this, Algeria will enter a new era by adopting a different approach and promote the mine sector, which will beef up the national economy and open up new horizons for a promising future.
Still in the mining field, which has taken an important dimension with the Garaj Bilat mine in the extreme south, one of the greatest projects in the continent that the government is relying on heavily to boost the national economy. Here's Najah Tayyar.
Garaj Bilat region inhabitants Mohammed and his fellow students have chosen to follow a training program adapted to their local socio-economic environment. New specialties are being taught at the Tindouf Vocational Training Center to meet the local labor market needs following the launch of the Garaj Bilat mine in Tindouf province. I live in Garaj Bilat and I'm training to be a mine machinery driver. It's a year-long course. We have 1 day of theoretical lessons a week at the Vocational Training Center and 4 days of practical training on the site at Garaj Bilat. I am being trained in the machine maintenance domain, which is a niche that attracted me. Teachers of mining operation mechanisms, also prevention and mining safety at the Talib bin Abdurrahman Training Center are mentoring the theory and practice. The trainees are sent to the companies responsible for carrying out the Garaj Bilat project. These specialities have also been consolidated by the signing of partnership agreements with the socio-economic companies to the satisfaction of trainees in the training sector. A partnership agreement has been signed between the training centers and the companies in charge of operating the Garaj Bilat mine. The trainees at the training center will receive theoretical training at the center and practical training at the companies carrying out the project. These new specialties will help provide the local market with skilled workforce that can easily integrate the labor market.
On to the operational assessment of the People's National Army in the past week. In the context of the fight against terrorism, detachments of the People's National Army arrested 12 support elements to terrorist groups during operations across the national territory. In the framework of the fight against organized crime and the continuation of the tireless efforts aimed at countering the scourge of drug trafficking in our country, combined detachments of the PNA intercepted in coordination with the different security services during operations across military regions 58 drug traffickers and thwarted attempts to introduce 9 quintals and 61 kilograms of processed keef through the borders with Morocco, while more than 339,337 psychotropic tablets were seized. In Tamaras, Portbeji Mukhtar and Janet, detachments of the People's National Army arrested 312 individuals and seized 30 vehicles, 216 generators, 126 jackhammers, and 1 metal detector, in addition to quantities of explosives, detonation tools, and other equipment used in illegal gold mining operations. On the other hand, 28 other individuals were arrested and 14 hunting rifles, in addition to 2 automatic pistols, 17,190 liters of fuel, 18 quintals of tobacco, 11 tons of foodstuffs intended for smuggling and speculation, in addition to 16,806 units of different beverages were seized during separate operations across the national territory. On the other hand, border guards sorted at the level of our national codes, attempts at illegal immigration and rescued 126 individuals aboard traditionally made boats, while 775 illegal immigrants of different nationalities were arrested across the national territory. Belhassan Yaqub, the subject of many international arrest warrants issued by Algerian judicial authorities, arrived to Algiers International Airport aboard a plane of Algerian Airlines Air Algérie from the German city of Frankfurt, guarded by elements of the national security in charge of deporting him from Germany. This arrest and deportation is the fruit of the intense coordination between different Algerian security services, as well as the proactive role of the Algerian diplomacy. And in international developments, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni reiterated his support for the struggle of the Sahrawi people, highlighting the need to respect the basic principles in the African Union's chart and to allow the Sahrawi people the right to self-determination and independence. This came during President Museveni's meeting with the Sahrawi Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mohamed Sidati, in his capacity as the special envoy of the Sahrawi President, Secretary General of the Polisario Front, Ibrahim Ghali. Sports now, the national football team takes on today in Constantine Stadium the Cape Verdean side in a friendly game as part of the preparations for the upcoming African Cup of Nations slated for next January in Côte d'Ivoire. The Desert Warriors are to meet also Egypt in another match after 4 days in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. And finally, we invite you to discover a wide range of our famous national dish, namely couscous, the preparation of which varies from one region to another, depending on the ingredients used. Yet the good taste is taken for granted thanks to Algeria's brave ladies and their magic recipes. Other secrets of this mouth-watering dish in this report with Najah Tayyar.
The couscous, an emblematic dish, magnificently presented at this event by chefs from every corner of the country. The most common dishes of the couscous and the most exotic ones, both are present in this fair, and each has its own flavors and texture that make it unique and qualify it to be one of the best dishes at the international level. I am very happy to be invited to take part in this show and various other similar festivals. I presented a couscous with thyme, acorns and wheat. I presented more than 11 other varieties of couscous. I exhibited a couscous with meat and chicken, the most common Algerian couscous dish. Couscous with vegetables, with fish, with meat and with fine herbs. All original Algerian couscous dishes are made here by chefs who added their own touch without altering the original recipe from the region of their origins. We have gathered here today to choose a couscous, or rather the best couscous, considering the original couscous taste of their region of origins. It is a dish which combines the Maghreb as we know it. It is also the dish that gathers the Algerian families in different occasions. This authentic dish is a culinary specialty that is an integral part of the Algerian culture. It is also a symbol of sharing and fraternity, culinary heritage that honors the Algerian traditional and modern cuisine, which must be preserved for future generations.
The end. Thank you to our journalists and technicians, and thank you for watching. Good night.